used to love me like a sister. You used to hold me like a friend. We used to share a master bed.
Divine Rising family, Divine Rising, Southern Goddess here with her big sis Keish. We are Conscious Talk, and on this segment we are talking about book experience versus life experience. So I get everyone gets the meaning of book experience and life experience, but hey, since we're having a casual conversation, I'm gonna go ahead and brief you guys on that. Life experience is basically your own curriculum, your own journey, what you've went through, your own experience. As far as book experiences, you're getting some self-explanatory knowledge from a book or someone else's perspective. So we're going to dive deep into book experience versus life experience. And sis, chime in anytime that you want on your info on book experience versus life experience.
Like you said, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's one of those things where we get our book experience when we go to school.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You know, and then life teaches us its own lessons behind that. So what do you think? How do you feel about, you had a story of where you ran into somebody who had book experience.
Yes, I did.
So tell your story.
Okay, so I went to the dentist yesterday, family. Okay, had to get the teeth cleaning. It's been a minute since I got my teeth cleaning, and I do everything natural. And I was letting her know I don't use fluoride. I don't use all the chemicals that they use at the dental clinic. And, you know, she freaked out because she was like, oh, you need fluoride. It's for this, it's for that. And I had to go back and forth with her. Yes, I did. It was the moment to do that and school her on some things. Why I don't utilize fluoride, why fluoride is not best for someone like myself who actually done the research and studies as well as had the experience of using fluoride, and why I no longer use it. Her experience, she has book experience. She has like 22 years of being a hygienist, and she strongly felt that fluoride was something that needed to be used. And she was just so concerned. Oh, I think you should do this. I think you should do that. Well, if you're the adult and you got a daughter, then your daughter should. And I had to say, hold on, sit, pump brakes. Now, I'm her mother. You know, this is my body. I do what I want. But, you know, having that moment with her, it also showed me, sis, at one point I used to think like her, still stuck in that illusion, still stuck in that cloak, and just still utilizing book knowledge versus getting out there and actually getting the knowledge. I'm glad I do have the experience as well as going back and doing my research on that. And for what I say, life experience is just as important as book experience. What do you think about that, sis?
You're right. I feel like, like you said, you get the book experience, you get the book knowledge. One thing we do have to understand, and what most people don't understand, and in this case is what she didn't understand, is that there are different sides to the medical experience, and the book that she was taught out of was the book that she experienced. So she felt that that was the only experience out there, and that was the right experience.
Yeah. Book experience. I do feel book experience is still plausible in a sense.
No, I'm not.
But
I'm not.
No, I know you're not. But I'm saying I still do feel like it's plausible in a sense. But there has to be a balance of both book and book and life experience.
In this situation, I feel like she only knew one book, one way. Yeah. And because she only knew one way, and she was indoctrined to believe that that one way was what worked. That's what she went for, instead of being open-minded to say that, there are other ways. And maybe you were the one who were supposed to bring that to her knowledge so she could start looking into other medicinal understandings to what's out there. Yeah. But this is what the whole discussion is about. It's basically about knowing that there's multiple ways. And yes, there are books. And being able to understand that some books are going to tell you one way, some books are going to tell you another way, and just reading one book and getting one person's understanding or way of doing things and then letting life show you is something different. And so if she's always used Crest on her teeth and always used Scope for her, her dental hygiene, she doesn't really know that she could be killing the good bacteria in her mouth, because that's not what society wrote those books for.
Not at all.
Society wrote those books to keep us in their chair.
And so I wrote something down. It was a thought, and I want to share this thought, and this is what I wrote. So book experience can be viewed as a map for essential understanding for something about life experience, whatever subject or topic it is that you're interested in, versus life experience is the territory itself where you fully experience the topic or subject at hand, which is why I said, having a balance of both, because there are times where someone can have, say, like for instance, I have examples. You are an entrepreneur starting a business, but you don't have the book experience or a plan to elevate that business. All you know is life experience and hustle. Can't necessarily really say how your business is going to thrive or not, because you haven't really taken up that knowledge to expand your mind, to build that plan, versus an entrepreneur who does, get the life as well as the book knowledge and applying that to the plan. Because I do feel like knowledge is powerful. It's power, but knowledge is also powerful even more when applied.
So I like when people go for the life experience first and then follow it up with a book, because going to school for going to school for business teaches you how to run somebody's business. It doesn't teach you how to stand up a business. So most people who go to, because it was the big thing when most young people, especially in my age group, were deciding to go to college. And it was like, what do you go to college for? Well, we're going to be entrepreneurs. And you find that going to school for business teaches you to run somebody's business. It doesn't give you the step-by-step on how to build your own business. So if you started building your own business and ran into that pothole where you didn't know what was next, then you go to the book and you say, okay, let's see what's there. To me, and this is just in my personal opinion, I like using life first and then book, because book first is still somebody else's understanding, and then you don't even know if that understanding is going to work for you in your life. So you've read this book, and after you've read this book, you try to apply it and find that it doesn't work.
Now say this, okay? I literally start my own business just off of just off my intuition. However, I had already had the knowledge and tools prior to that due to my logistical background and my degree. I just utilized the information from there, as well as feedback from peers, to help me elevate my business. So what would you call that instead? Because I had the knowledge before I even started a business, but once I started it, then I realized I got the tools to do it. What you say?
So logistics helps you to move your stuff from one place to another. Building a business, like you said, you did that off of intuition. Then now you're also talking to other people about how to get things up and moving. So you're still on the life side of experience. Once you get into the book side, it'll probably be when it's time for you to start doing your income taxes and all that. Well, what I'm saying is when your business actually starts bringing in that type of money, and your taxes get more complicated, it's going to take book knowledge as well as having somebody else come in and say, hey, look, because you could take their word for it and then not know exactly what they're talking about and rely on somebody to do it for you. Right. Or you can go and you can get the book knowledge. So you say, I have some understanding of what it is that this person is saying, the jargon that they're using, so it won't go over my head. So, I mean, it's still the same. It doesn't change. It's just that a lot of times when people get that book knowledge, they forget to try to apply it and to see if there's other knowledge that's spun around it. Most people pick up one book, they read it, they say, this is the gospel, and I'm just going to hold on to this. And then when they hit that pothole in that situation, now they're trying to figure out, well, what went wrong. The
Yeah.
life experience. It's just that.
Most definitely. So another example, because I knew an individual, this is a long time ago, they had all the self-help books, okay, but never really applied the knowledge of those self-help books versus someone who actually had self-help books and applied the knowledge. That's another example as well, because you can see the growth from there. Like you said, once that person hit that pothole, they can turn to a book. Like I say, books are the simulators, the framework, the conscious simulators to help the mental framework, and then the life experience is the whole embodiment of everything, because you can find the keys and gems in the books. It's just for you to utilize those tools.
So the books are knowledge.
Yes.
So knowledge without wisdom is just knowledge. You can know something but not know how to use it or utilize it or practice it, but you're speaking based off of what you read, which is the knowledge, not having the wisdom to know which one works actually for you or how to navigate through that knowledge.
Now, sis, do you believe, because I strongly do, say like two people read the same book and they can perceive the book in two different ways, but because of that, that was for them to elevate in their own life experience, because everybody's life experience isn't going to be the same.
Of course. I mean, think about it. If Mercury is not the same for everybody, and Mercury is how we think and how we communicate, then two people reading a book are not going to get the same understanding. That's why you shouldn't read one book one time. You read it multiple times, because the first time you're just getting the new knowledge. The second time you're actually ingraining it and understanding. Some people don't even read word for word. They speed read and they skip what they feel is not necessary to read, as long as they get what they think is the meat and potatoes. So yeah, I mean, we see that all the time. Look at religion. There's one person reading the book at the pulpit is telling you one thing, practicing something totally different. Or you could look out in life. No, two people have the same experience in life because our thumbprints aren't the same.
Most definitely. That is why they read that one scripture instead of the whole thing, because you might miss the whole thing, well, the whole message, if you don't read the whole scripture.
You don't mind, you do. You miss it.
Especially if you don't read it yourself. So yeah, I that was something I always questioned, when I was going to church. Why aren't we reading the whole thing? Why are we focusing on this one piece right here? And it'd be the whole entire sermon, we focusing on this one piece. And like you go back, well, I went back, read it for myself, and I'm like, well, we missed all of this right here.
Well, if you think about it, it's kind of like what we do here. It's for somebody to bring it to your attention so that you can go and enlighten yourself with the knowledge. And then you get the discernment from what you're reading, instead of saying, okay, well, I don't like reading, and I'm not going to go do this, and I'm not going to go do that. So I'm just going to take this person's word for it. And then once they're misled, they want to complain. But the only person you can fault in that situation is self. You can't really fault that person standing at the head of the pulpit, because they did their job. It was pick one portion, do that portion, read that portion, help you understand that portion. It's up to you to see what comes before and after.
All of that, sis. All of that. Most definitely. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about everything that you say, and I'm just like, yep. It's a lot of accountability in that aspect too. It's your responsibility to read the book yourself and interpret it yourself.
It goes to like with the doctors. We go to the doctor and we expect the doctor to be the subject matter expert at what it is that they are telling us. Later to find out that all this doctor's trying to do is prescribe you all these different tests to be taken and put you on some new medication so that they can, fulfill their obligations.
Yes,
because they probably have large bills that they have to pay from school and this and that and the other. And so now they're feeding you something that you don't know. I mean, basically like the whole vitamin D deficiency in our community.
Yes. Well, they tell you to stay out of the sun or put on sunscreen because you'll get skin cancer. That's not for everybody. So my aunt.
It's not.
My aunt, before she transitioned, she was a registered nurse. She knew her medicine. She understood what was in it. She understood what was good for her body and everything. She was on dialysis and everything. So she would go to doctors and they would tell her what medicine she needed to take. And she'd be like, oh, no, no, no. I know what I need to take. This is what I need to take. And she would tell them that. And they would literally get frustrated with her because she knew what she was talking about. They did not like that. And I just thought that was just so inspiring because she went in there and she knew what was right for her in that moment in time. And I had that same experience. So, you know, you go to the doctor or whatever you're doing, know who you are and tell them that. Otherwise,
Well, good luck with going to the doctor. If y'all go to the doctor, hey, thumbs up to you. I've left all of them alone. I feel like when it's my time.
Seriously need it though, sis. Like if
What?
they seriously need it, they
No,
should.
I'm not telling nobody not to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm telling them, thumbs up to them. I've given it up. I've watched doctors prescribe people the wrong medication. I've watched doctors mess up people in my lives, mess them over by prescribing them the wrong medications they shouldn't be on, not knowing the little information. If I can find it, and I'm not a doctor,
Right.
then you should be able to find it as a doctor.
Right.
You see,
Right.
but it's just one of those things where I've seen it. I'm not. I feel like if it's my time to exit this planet, I'm going to go. And I'm not fighting.
That's definitely. I agree with you though, sis. I agree with you because, like you said, it's time and time again. They can get one. Oh, we made a mistake. It's this. I watch a lot of true crime, and I've seen that on there where they kept diagnosing a patient because they didn't know what it was, or it's some sort of rare thing that you had, and all this time this patient ended up getting even worse and worse because you're adding all of this into their body that they don't even need.
Yes, I have. I had to deal with one of the most misunderstood diagnoses. It wasn't for myself, it was for somebody very close to me. And this diagnosis is a diagnosis that masks itself as other things in the body. And you go to the doctors and you tell them this person is diagnosed with this, and you can already see that the lights go off. Mm. And so after a while, I would go in and do like your aunt did. I would tell them, you're not giving her this, you're going to give her this. And well, we got to go make sure it's okay with so-and-so. Okay, we'll go make sure it's okay with so-and-so. I'm the one who has been dealing with this. It's not about me being the parent. I'm the subject matter expert at this point. I'm the one who has been dealing with this situation.
That's what I told that lady.
I know what works. I know what works. I know what I've seen. I know what she needs. And at this point, it's about me knowing and you trying to figure it out. And so they brought the lady to me, and she didn't like, first of all, because I was completely Muslim at that time. I was all covered up. And I love it. They're quick to judge, and I was okay with that. But I don't care how you feel. It's going to be done this way. And if you can't do it, you can unplug her from all these machines and we'll go elsewhere. But I will, and I'm the one who will go in and interview the emergency room staff and everybody before you start poking and prodding, because she's not a guinea pig. We're not guinea pigging. We're not going to be in here over this for the longest time. That's what took us so long to get here, because we know that you're a guinea pig. When you have life experience and you know something, don't let anybody waver you because they have an ego that wants to stand up and tell you, well, I don't care how much you pay for that piece of paper that's got your name on it and a stamp on it. I can go make one of them piece of papers, put a seal on it, put a stamp on, put my name on it, and say I have one too.
We have Campbell. There you go, Campbell right there.
That piece of paper only gave you surface level knowledge
for this physical world. Yes. And it gets so defensive. They get so defensive when you challenge their knowledge. No,
I don't disagree. They paid a lot of money for that piece of paper, and paper ain't even worth that much.
I told them to do that.
So they paid a but they paid a lot of money for that piece of paper. And I'll tell them, I don't know what you graduated, what your GPA was when you graduated. I don't know how much you drank when you was doing whatever it was you was doing. I don't know what you was on, how much Adderall you was popping. I don't know all of that, but I do know one thing. I get it. You paid a lot of money for that piece of paper to have all these accolades put in front of your name. That's fine. But that does not mean that you know what's going on over here when I know that I've been dealing with this longer than you've been breathing in this room.
Oh, come on, preach, sis, because I could give a damn about your degrees, all of that. I said what I said in my
I want you to have the book knowledge, but I also want you to have the experience that comes behind it. That's why wisdom and knowledge is so important to have.
Very much so, very much so. And that's why I do know that people, they upraise one book experience and then they value one more and devalue the other because, oh, they got a doctorate. Oh, that means absolutely nothing to me. I've said that to a close person towards me. Yo, piece of paper means to me. Okay, it means absolutely nothing to me.
Well, I'm Dr. So-and-so.
Oh.
Are you serious?
And I'll be like, hey.
But I do have a friend who does have her doctorate, and I must say that she's the most humbled person that I've ever met. Like she said, I did this for a reason. Mm-hmm. She said, and it was her. You know, she had her reasons why she did it, but she doesn't flaunt it.
Yeah.
You know, and she does have the knowledge and the wisdom to go with it.
Yeah.
She's not carrying the air of I'm an aristocrat, nose stuck up in it. She doesn't act like that. She is the most beautiful person and spirit walking this earth that
she can talk the talk and walk the walk.
Honestly, you know, and it's just one of those things where it makes you become a person that says, if you can do it, I can do it too.
Most definitely.
And because of her, she inspired me to do some things. But like I said, my accolades and my paper stacks are not, it's nobody's. First of all, it's personal.
It is. It definitely is.
It's personal. I don't throw that out there. I'll tell people, yeah, I've taught some things. Okay, I teach some things. But that doesn't mean that I'm not throwing I'm not going to throw my accolades out there, my accomplishments and that, this, that, and other. Because to me, you're going to look at me based off of that and not based off of who I actually am. I'm not wearing a step to my forehead.
Very much so. Very much so, sis. I definitely agree. And going to school for my bachelor's and stuff like that versus reading a book on what I went to school for, I was like, I really didn't need to go to no 4-year college. I could have just read the book and then continued to practice. I got the experience just by the jobs I've done in my personal business, personal life in general, because you can use logistics anywhere. So I was like, okay, well, I really didn't need all of these degrees and certificates. Like you said, it's just personal. I really think they just nothing but a little trophy to say, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this, just so you can show the world it's for you. Yeah.
I mean, because I did. Somebody was like, well, what's your background? I told them, I was like, if I went down all my background, we'd be here for too long. And anyways, why is it even relevant?
It's really not.
It's not. Because I've had an actual medical doctor ask me why wasn't I a medical doctor, and I looked at her and I said it wasn't anything I grew up saying I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But it was when the pressure was bestowed on me to have to know some information, I did exactly what you all would have done. I went and looked it up, because if you're a general practitioner, all you're going to do is know general medicine. Okay. If you have somebody that comes to you with a complicated case, you're looking at them with the stunned look, because you don't have a clue how to handle this. So the first thing you're going to do, just so you could probably stabilize them, is look it up. So that's what I did. I started looking it up.
As you should. As you should. And I also learned just being at this appointment as she's talking and I'm listening to her and I'm thinking, oh, okay, all I need is X, Y, Z. I can be self-sufficient. I can teach myself. I don't really need to come in here. You know, I really felt like we had that moment of alignment there because I needed to take something from her. She needed to take something from me. And I remember it was supposed to be in an hour and she was just going to do the bottom teeth. And she ended up doing my top because someone else canceled their appointment after me. And she was like, oh my God, you're so lucky. And I was thinking in my mind, it's not luck. You know, this happened like it was supposed to happen. There was something exchange that was supposed to happen there. So I definitely learned a lot. So I will definitely be a lot more efficient, self-efficient in that aspect, especially for me and my daughter, because at the end of the day, like I said, I am her mother. It's my body. I do what I want. Okay.
Yeah, I feel society puts too much
emphasis.
Yeah, too much emphasis on book smarts, because you could have that piece of paper and made C's and D's, you know, through school, or even failed some classes and had to go back and take them. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against going to school. I'm not against getting a higher education. What I'm saying is that know that just because it's in the book or just because it's told to you from the front of the classroom, that, you know, there might be somebody that has had a life experience that could say that, well, that doesn't just work for me that way.
Yeah.
And because that's it. I mean, if you think about it, even in life, we think that everybody's supposed to live a certain way, walk a certain way, talk a certain way, act a certain way. And society puts this on us and tells us what we're supposed to think and what we're not supposed to think, instead of us sitting back and saying, well, why am I feeling this way? Why are they telling me I'm supposed to be sad on these days and happy on these days? And, you know, I'm supposed to, you know, celebrate this on this day and that day and the other day. We let our society dictate what it is that we're supposed to do in our lives, instead of sitting back with ourselves and being able to say, maybe it's time for me to start defining who I am for the pure purpose of myself.
Yes, because I do believe book knowledge is still being perceived by another person's perspective still.
Of course it is. Yeah. Of course it is. I mean, think about all the classes we went to school for up to high school and how much we actually used from that. You know, most people, like I said, they don't even know geographically where one state is from another. And that just right there, that gets me.
Yeah, I do remember some class times where, you know, you take the exams and it's not actually one of those exams where you don't use the book. Oh, this isn't an open book exam. And I'm like, okay. You know, how are you supposed to test your knowledge if it's an open book exam? But okay, you're the instructor, so okay, this your class.
At that point, I think it's more about them making sure you're indoctrined to what is where in the book. Great way to make sure that you're programmed very well. So the test is to make sure that you're programmed.
That makes sense. So, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, yeah. Too bad. Too bad y'all fell in that department for me. So I did some deep diving in Hermetic principles, and I found 2 Hermetic principles where book experience versus life experience could go hand in hand. And the first one is the principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has a pole. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degrees. So polarity shows what the duality between the two is, like you said, wisdom and knowledge, or wisdom and understanding. Another one, principle of gender. Book experience can be viewed as the divine feminine aspect, the intuitive aspect, because you're reading and getting the knowledge. Life experience can be viewed.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Okay. Okay, so life experience can be viewed as the masculine aspect, which is the action, you putting forth the action, you're going out there and getting the actual life experience, hence what I said earlier, the territorial aspects. So those were some hermetic principles that I was looking at because I was telling sis I wanted to go back and read the Kabbalion, and I wanted to go back and figure out which principle would go with book experience versus life experience because it was dinging in my head, and I was like, go back and read, go back and read, go back and read, and I went back and read, and these were the two hermetic principles that I felt matched with what we're talking about right now. So I don't know if you heard me earlier. I kept on talking, but these were the two principles that I found that matched with what we were talking about, and it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense because you can't have one without the other sometimes.
No.
But yeah, you can't have one
Well,
without the other.
so
Well, you know, there are some people who are highly intuitive and just have the gift of knowing. So we can say that too, but I do feel at some aspects you still need one with the other. So the balance.
In book knowledge versus life experience, you can have life experience without book knowledge. You can live life without
highly
book
intuitive,
knowledge.
yeah.
But highly intuitive or not, I mean, because when you stumble into something in life, you either ask yourself what did I do wrong, or you go back and repeat the cycle
your intuition,
you right.
So
could be. I mean, but not everybody is spiritual or intuition or have a strong sense of intuition. You walk into a wall, you know to back up and relook at it again. You might walk into it a couple times. That's why we live in cycles before we actually get it. But there are people who can live life without book knowledge. Now, would I say that if you have book knowledge, trying to live a life of book knowledge without living a life of life knowledge, those two do need to go hand in hand. But I do believe that life is going to throw at you what it needs to, whether it's in a book or not, and you can still navigate through it. It might take you a little bit longer to get through it, but you can still get through it. Now, if you're reading a book written by so-and-so and your life isn't on the same understanding as so-and-so's life, then at that point in time, you definitely might have some problems, because now you're going to have to lean in on life experience to help you get around those cycles, if that makes sense. So
it definitely does.
Can you live with one without the other? I definitely believe you can. Should you live with one without the other? I would tell you balance is always key. But if you're going to live life at life knowledge alone, then you have to be the navigator of that area. I mean, because think about it, before there was books, they were still navigating life.
Yeah, and because you are the book in general, you are the book.
But if there's only books out there written by one person's perspective, now you're going to have to learn where to get your perspective from. So having book knowledge could cloud judgment based off of that area. But what you believe comes to truth. So if you believe that this book is going to be what it is, you have to truly believe it, and you have to hope that there is no misunderstanding inside. But we can see where that's taking us now.
Yes. I was definitely reading in the book where it mentioned how society has allowed one small group of people to dictate, decisions and everything based off of what they want. They was able to project that perception on everyone. Now society has manifested what this small group wanted versus doing for self, versus tapping into their own power, versus, like you said, using your own discernment and finding stuff for self to elevate self. So
I don't think they had a choice in that matter. When that group came in, and it was a choice of life or death at that point. We got to this point by pillaging, killing, slaying, all of that. And you chose to live and become indoctrined, or you chose to die and come back. But see, that's the thing. Once they killed off everybody who was mortars to what they were trying to do. And you've got all these people that are ran off of fear and fear-based energy. Once you come back in, your parents are going to indoctrinate you into what has already become because of the fear-based understanding. So I see where it stems from, but now it's how do you get out of it?
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree with what you're saying, but I also agree with what the book is saying as well. So at this point, we're in this era now. We have to, like you said, sis, we have to find self. I know a lot of people are in that process of finding self, and I also know some who are not quite ready just yet. And that's what we're here for, Conscious Talk.
Yes.
So yes.
So we have these discussions so that you can decipher for yourself if it's all you want is book smarts, then go for it. I mean, it's not up to me, it's not up to sis, it's up to you as the individual to decide. But also allow yourself to know that if somebody only has one versus the other, and you're taking knowledge from them and you're not going out and seeking the knowledge for yourself, which is what you should always be doing. Even when we talk, you should still be going to get the information and decipher it for yourself so that you can have the true wisdom and knowledge for self, not just taking our word for it, because we're still flawed human beings like everybody else. And what works for me won't work for sis, and what works for sis won't work for everybody else. So this was a very important one for me, this segment here.
Very much so for both of us, sis, because now that you said that, I think about the astrological makeup of everyone. When you just, said what works for you might not work for me, what works for me might not work for you. I think as soon as you said that, I thought of the astrological makeup of everyone, where you can go back and look, at your astrological makeup and see what does work for you and go from there.
Look at your personal planets, your society planets to put you into how you maneuver around society, but look at your personal planets and understand where the personal planets lie, because personal is yours. You don't share those. You'll share some with other people, but the blueprint is yours and yours alone. And knowing how to utilize them for self.
In case anyone has any questions, could you name off the personal planets again for them?
So your ascendant is your avatar. I know everybody say the big three is, your ascendant and your sun and whatever else. Your ascendant is the body that you are in, and your pathway of, part of your pathway, because you have many. Part of your pathway. So, I mean, if you're worried about the way your body's going to look and what it is, then look into your ascendant. But don't, when you're looking at your planets, all the planets from the sun to Saturn, the ones past Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, those are your societal planets. Your personal planets are from the sun to Saturn.
And there you have it, y'all. So when you check your birth chart, just look at those, understand your makeup. That way you can understand you a lot better. You know what is for you and what is not for you. If something interests you, I encourage you. I won't tell you to do it. I encourage you, because you can do whatever it is that you want. I recommend that you do your own research. That's the whole point. Do your own research, dig down and find your own keys and jewels, because that's the whole point of life as well. Finding our own tools and our keys and our gems, because we're supposed to have this interaction right here. I'm taking something from sis taking something from me, y'all taking something from us. So it's an exchange that we're supposed to have in order to elevate ourselves. And it's not selfish, it's selfless for you to get out there to understand yourself, because like we've always said, you got to be the best team player there is for your community. And in order to do that, you have to know self.
Yes, you have to be the best individual to be the team player. If you can't be an individual, because most people will say there's no I in team. It is.
It definitely is. Right in the A.
If you look at, in the A. Yes, it's in the A hole. You need to be an individual. You definitely do. And you can't, if you're a clone, you're not there's no individuality. And if we got 5, 10, 15 clones out there, you see what I'm saying? Then what are you as an individual bringing to the community any different from what the other clones are bringing? You see?
Sure.
So learn yourself, know yourself, understand yourself. If there are people out there that can help you get in touch with self. But book sense without life knowledge is exactly what we can see in some areas. It's one-sided. So in order to be double-edged, and you're much stronger as a double-edged, you want to have both of them going hand in hand. And understanding that when you come up, and it's just to understand, like when the dentist came up against cis, it should have been, okay, so you prefer a more herbal understanding than a more chemical understanding. Okay, I got you, So instead of using this or this, you could do oil pulling, or you could do this, or you could do that. But she didn't have that knowledge. Yeah. And I can't fault her because maybe she doesn't know she needs that knowledge until she comes up against the person who tells her, I'm not really into the chemicals. Yeah. I really want something more natural, something more homeopathic.
Love how you say that.
Something more, a more herbal technique for it. And if she would have been like, well, I would have been like, my first thing would have been like, oh, you're in this for the money. You're in this for the money. I get it, but you don't get it, because before they had dentists, we were doing what we needed to do. And now we know that there are things out there that we can use. So just be mindful when you go out there, that some people do only know a book.
Hey, and it's okay to challenge them, or at least, have that exchange. Because like I said, I was supposed to be there for an hour. I was there longer than an hour, and I knew that exchange needed to happen, not for no reason. I don't believe in coincidence. Everything is in perfect alignment. Before I move any further, I'm wearing blue this rising. And I also have my blue Buddha candle burning. Reason why that is, I know a lot of people talk about their throat chakra being clogged and closed. And we're talking about book experience versus life experience. If you're one of those who just like, I don't really read books, you can definitely do it. So utilize this candle. As you see, it's burning, and I got my lapis lazuli on. So utilize these tools if needed, if you're resonating with it, to help you open that throat chakra. Read the book out loud to you. Pick a book that resonates with you and what it is that you want to accomplish for self. Don't stop yourself from elevating just because you can't read fast enough or something. I don't read that fast. I take my time. Sometimes I'll read a sentence.
That word can't stop you from doing anything that you thought you
Very
could
much
do.
so.
Therefore, if you stop saying you can't and start saying you can, your throat chakra won't be clogged, and you'll be able to read and decipher what you need to.
All of that.
But can't is the word that puts the noose around your neck. So maybe that's why your chakra is closed off, because you keep saying that.
And a lot of folks have the fear of what is it? The fear of presentation, being in front of people, speaking, and public speaking. There we go. So, perfect time. Just sit with self, read the book out loud. It's just you and you. Read that book out loud.
Public speaking. If you don't like public speaking is not for everybody. You don't have to get out there and do it. Mm-hmm. You can take a class on it if you want to learn how to do it. That's how I learned how to do it. It's actually fun to take public speaking, or just get out there and stutter and be yourself and allow yourself to make the mistakes or the discoveries or the understandings that are going to happen. And don't tell yourself you can't, just don't tell yourself you can't do anything. Always tell yourself, I'm willing to try, and I will allow myself to do instead of saying I can't, because can't puts that noose around your neck.
It definitely does. And take my ass for example. Always take me for example, y'all. I am one person who will not do public speaking in the past due to past experience. But I knew that I was supposed to use my throat chakra for my purpose. Part of my purpose as well, because I got a lot going on. But I knew that was something I needed, and doing these videos, sitting here, going back and looking at our videos from the beginning versus now, I see the growth. I go back and I'm like, okay, I need to do this. Okay, I'm like, you're just having a conversation, Jacqueline. Just be you. Just be you. And I've had a lot of people tell me, I love your energy. And I was like, well, shit, let me just continue to do what I do and just speak how I speak. And then the gravitation will happen. People will understand whether they resonated with it or not. They still love the energy. They still love the message that we're putting out here, sis. So I'm grateful for our podcast and us doing this together and you guys watching. So again, take your girl for an example. If I could do it, you can too.
You can always do it. Just
yes.
Don't tell yourself you can't. Please don't.
That first is precious.
Just say you can, and then put forth the effort. That's all I can say about that.
I do have some questions though. We haven't had any questions to give out, you guys, and I'm gonna make sure they're in the description box at below our video. So I have 5. And I want you guys to go and journal this to yourself, or you can sit down and have a conversation with a close friend. First question I have, is there a balance of both book and life experience in your own lives? Why or why not? Second question, is it better to read more books on life or to truly live one? Okay. All right, going to my third question. Why do you feel most people tend to overvalue one and devalue the other? This is your own perspective. Write this in your journal. Fourth, what life experience have you had that solidified your understanding after reading a book? And question 5 goes back to question 1 and kind of tag along to that. What's something small you can enhance your integration of the two for your own personal understanding? Those are 5 questions. I want you to be able to sit with yourself and journal, or if you have like a beautiful trusted friend like I do here with my big sis, and y'all just talk about it, open up the conversation and talk about these questions. What do you feel? What are your perspectives? And exchange from there. Sis, did you have anything?
Oh, when you find out that you have a Mercury in air, you're going to do all the talking that you can. If you find out that you have your Mercury in earth, you're going to write it down. And Mercury on fire is going to be active, so you're going to just do. And Mercury in water, you need to fill it out. So make sure you just understand, when it comes to these things, know what you need, know how you can find the better parts of these in your life, and how you can take and utilize the information that we put out, or the opinionated information that we have put out to your advantage, because we're just trying to bring it to light, shine some light on it, and say, hey, look, have you thought about, what do you think about this? Share it in the comments what you think. How do you feel about book knowledge versus life knowledge, and which one has helped you? Share it in the comments. We'd love to see it, because if it's just in a journal, we're not able to see it. But if you share some, you don't have to share a whole journal, but share some of your brief experiences in the comments, so we can see, so we can get a good understanding of what it is that it is that you see that we're doing here. And if we did shine some light on it, if it's something you've never thought about, let us know. It'd be cool to see how you feel about this. It's not always about what we feel. It's more or less about what we can bring to the forefront of the mind, so people can start thinking just a little bit different than we are now. Because if we can think just a little bit different than we thought yesterday, today, we can change the way things look for each other one little moment at a time.
Very much so. When you change the perspective here, the outside starts to look different, family. So that's all we have in this segment, family, and we greatly appreciate you guys for joining us. Like Sis said, get down in the comments. Let's have a discussion and let's exchange knowledge. And until then, family, find your light and then fix your crown, family. Peace.
We were